Tom Flanagan and Dale Nightingale had picked up their freshman beanies like the rest of us from the carton just inside the library doors, and at the end of registration day, they stood for a moment together at the entrance to the school, trying them on. "I think they're one size fits none," Tom said. Both boys' beanies were a quarter size too large and swam on their heads. "Don't worry, we can swap them tomorrow," Tom said. "There were a lot left over in that box. Do you know how to wear these, by the way? This little bill is supposed to be 2 fingers above the bridge of your nose." Using the first 2 fingers of his right hand to demonstrate, he adjusted the cap with his right. Nightingale imitated him and brought the brim down to the level of his topmost finger. "Well, it's only for the first semester," Tom said. But then, at the beginning, they shared a secret pleasure in wearing the absurd caps. Tom, because it meant that he was in the upper school, the entrance to adulthood. If Tom thought of the upper school as the realm of beings who were almost men, the seniors did look alarmingly like real adults. For Dell, it was something simpler and more comprehensive. He thought of it, without being quite aware of the thought, as a place which might become home. Tom, at least, was at home in it. At that moment, he wanted Tom Flanagan to befriend him more than anything else in the world. Of course, I am ascribing to the 14-year-old Dell Nightingale emotions which I cannot be sure he possessed. Yet he must have been very lonely in these first weeks at Carson, and I have Tom's later statement to me that Dell Nightingale needed a friend more than anyone else I'd ever met. I didn't even know, this is how innocent I was, that anyone could need a friend as badly as that. And you know how schools are. If you want something, security or affection very badly, it means that you're not going to get it. I didn't see why that should always be true. The statement shows that Tom was more sensitive than his appearance ever indicated. With his gingery hair, his short, wiry, athletic body, his good clothes a little scuffed and rumpled, he looked chiefly as though he wished he held a baseball in his hand. But another thing you thought you saw when you looked at Tom Flanagan was an essential steadiness. You thought you saw that he was incapable of affectation, because he would never see the need for it. I think Dell Nightingale looked at him bringing the school beanie down to the level of 2 fingers balanced on his nose, and adopted him on the spot. "That trick you were showing me isn't in my book," Tom said. "Sometime I'd like to see how it goes." "I brought a lot of card books with me," Dell said. He dared not say any more. "Let's go have a look at them. I can call my mother from your place. She was going to pick me up after registration, but we didn't know when it would be over. How do we get to your house? Do you have a ride?" "It's close enough to walk," Dell said. "It's not really my house. My godparents are just renting it." Tom shrugged, and they went down the front steps, crossed Santa Rosa Boulevard, and began to walk up sunlit Peace Lane. Carson was in a suburb old enough to have imposing elms and oaks lining the sidewalks. The houses they passed were the sort of houses Tom had seen all his life, most of them long and of 2 stories, either of white stone or white board. 1 or 2 houses on every block were bordered by screened-in porches. Concrete slabs, gray with age and crossed by a jigsaw puzzle of cracks, made up the slightly irregular sidewalk. Tough, coarse grass thrust up between the slabs of pavement. For Dell, who had been raised in cities and in boarding schools thousands of miles away, all of this was so unreal as to be dreamlike. For a moment, he was not certain where he was or where he was going. "Don't worry about Ridpath," Tom said beside him. "He's always hollering. He's a pretty good coach. But I'll tell you who's in trouble already." "Who?" Dell asked, beginning to quake already. He knew that Tom meant him. "That Brick. He'll never last. I bet he doesn't get through this year." "Why do you say that?" "I don't know exactly. He looks kind of hopeless, doesn't he? Kind of dumb. And Ridpath is already shitting hot nickels over his hair. If his father was on the board or something like that, or if his family had always gone here, you know." Flanagan was walking with what Dell would later see as the characteristic Carson gait, which slightly rolled the shoulders from side to side and wagged neckties like metronomes. This was, as Dell immediately recognized, finally preppy. Amidst all the Western strangeness, the strolling, necktie-swinging gait was familiar enough to be comfortable. "I guess I do know," he said. "Oh, sure.